Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Joseph Lopez. Let's take a look at our headlines. The Prime Minister launches national conversations with the slogan, "You speak, government listens." TNT takes part in Global Water Partnership Caribbean on proposals for dedicated water goal with the United Nations post-2015 development agenda. And in excess of 40,000 visitors expected for the start of this weekend's Tobago Jazz Experience. Welcome and thank you for joining us. Through the national conversation, Trinidad and Tobago is said to emerge healthier, more prosperous and even secure. This is the assurance given by Prime Minister the Honourable Kamla Persad-Bissessar as she launched the national conversation on Wednesday.
The Honourable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, SC, has officially launched the national conversation. The launch took place on Wednesday at the Academy of Nursing and Allied Health in El Dorado. According to the Prime Minister, her leadership style has always been to listen first and then lead. She said over the coming weeks, her government will be undertaking a national conversation with the people to gather their input and hear about their priorities, both for today and over the next 10 years. The Honourable Prime Minister noted that it is through consultation that the government has been able to make strides in national development, and it attributes its successes to the process of listening to citizens and learning what mattered most to them. The national conversation was born out of the government's undertaking that for it to succeed, the citizens must be able to speak their minds, share their thoughts on policies and day-to-day governance, and feel confident that their views are being heard. It focuses on three key questions. What makes Trinidad and Tobago such a great nation? What problems or issues do you think the government should focus most on to improve people's lives today? And what problems or issues do you think the government should focus most on to help develop and improve the nation over the next 10 years? There will be a variety of ways citizens can participate in the national conversation, including conversations with groups, in-person town hall meetings, and through the website www.nationalconversation.tt, which has been launched to solicit and gather feedback. All are encouraged to visit the website and share their thoughts, ideas, and concerns. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
While the Caribbean Court of Justice is located in Trinidad, this country is yet to accede to it. The Honourable Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar recently explained why the process is one that requires time and consensus.
Calls for Trinidad and Tobago's accession to the Caribbean Court of Justice continue to come from all quarters. At the official ceremony marking the establishment of the Faculty of Law at UWI St. Augustine, President of the CCJ, the Right Honourable Sir Charles Michael Dennis Byron, called for this country to pay tribute to former President Noor Hassan Ali by making the CCJ the country's final court of appeal. The university named its law faculty's auditorium the Noor Hassan Ali Law Auditorium.
In addition to the honour with which Mr. Hassan Ali is being bestowed today, we pay further tribute to him by taking immediate action to complete our sovereignty and independence, by acceding to the appellate jurisdiction of the CCJ, and honouring our obligations to ourselves and our peoples. Trinidad and Tobago, as the country where the seat of the CCJ is based, is very well placed to lead the charge, taking up the mantle from Barbados, Belize, and Guyana.
The CCJ president reminded those in attendance of the rationale behind the establishment of the Caribbean Court and the treaty which this country, along with its Caribbean neighbors, signed.
The Caribbean Court of Justice stands at the apex of three Caribbean countries. Although the agreement establishing the court was signed by all 12 countries, all signatories committed to the accession of the court in its appellate jurisdiction, convinced of the determinative role of the court in the further development of Caribbean jurisprudence and the deepening of the regional integration process. The Caribbean Court of Justice stands ready and willing to fulfill its destined role in the economic development and social stability of the region. It stands as a testament to our ability to govern ourselves and to develop a body of jurisprudence reflective of our unique Caribbean mores and values. Accession to the appellate jurisdiction of the court is the next logical step in our region's evolution.
He said the court is comprised of judges of the highest caliber and noted the institutional arrangements, such as the CCJ Trust Fund and the Regional Judicial and Legal Services Commission, which guarantee the impartiality and independence of the court and has been cited as worthy of emulation. Prime Minister the Honourable Kamla Persad-Bissessar SC responded during her speech, giving an update on what has been done regarding this topic.
There is no doubt, I think, in anyone's mind that the accession to the CCJ is inevitable for all of us here in Trinidad and Tobago, but in the rest of the Caribbean as well. That is inevitable. The question is always one of when. Now, there are those who say, if not now, when? In other words, the time is now, do it now. There are others who are of the view that a different approach should be taken. And recently, you may recall that we had a commission set up on constitutional reform. And this commission had gone out taking the views of the public. They, in their report, have come up with certain suggestions. There is a view within that report, if my memory serves me right, that this should be done only after a referendum from the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The Privy Council is one of the most entrenched provisions within our Constitution. It does not require a simple majority to remove it. It doesn't require the 3/4 majority. It goes beyond that, a 2/3 majority. And in some cases, for certain provisions, if my memory serves right, a 3/4 majority.
The Honourable Prime Minister said because of this, it is not an issue that should be treated with lightly.
Yes, the pressure is being put on Trinidad and Tobago, and today I ask, with the greatest respect, what is the position of the other CARICOM nations? There is some pressure, lobbying, rightfully so. I don't blame anyone for so doing. As I say, it is inevitable. It is a process by which it is done and the time in which it is to be done. So I may not have given great comfort in this regard, but I say I remain committed in principle to accession to the CCJ.
The Caribbean Court of Justice was established in 2001 and is located in Port of Spain. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
We take a break. You're with News 4. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Global Water Partnership Caribbean hosted a national stakeholder consultation on Wednesday at the Hyatt Regency. The forum was part of a global consultation exercise to get country-level feedback from 26 countries on proposals for a dedicated water goal in the United Nations post-2015 development agenda.
Water. Our bodies need it, our lives depend on it. This precious resource accounts for over 70% of the Earth's surface. Yet so many seem to lack access to this basic necessity. According to the United Nations, 85% of the world's population lives on dry land, while over 783 million people do not have access to clean water. With this in mind, the UN has mandated policies on water conservation and sustainable use. As a result, the Global Water Partnership, an NGO based in Switzerland, has been mandated to ensure statistics on its use and global practices are collected and presented to the international governing body come September this year, when the UN hosts its annual general meeting in New York. In hosting its national consultation on drafting its policy ahead of 2015, the JWP met with stakeholders that have responsibility over using water resources. These stakeholders include WASA, Water Resources, the EMA Environmental Management Authority, Institute of Marine Affairs, Community Water Catchment NGOs, SwimCall, and other waste management bodies. Regional Coordinator of the GWP, Wayne Joseph, outlined the issues needed to be addressed regarding water policies.
Today's consultation brings together stakeholders representing various sectors to share opinions and ideas on water resources management. The consultation will provide a unique platform for you, the stakeholders, to interact, discuss and share what you believe are Trinidad and Tobago's needs and priorities for a water development agenda beyond 2015. Various targets for water would be discussed in the consultation, as a focus area for deliberations are drinking water, sanitation and hygiene, wastewater pollution and water quality, water resources in general, water governance, and water-related disasters.
However, water is much more than drinking supply and keeping the earth dry, as it is interlinked with development of a nation and its economy. Assistant Director at the Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development, Peter Mitchell, explained the connection to the wider picture.
Water and industrialization, there's a link. Many people don't know that. But those, if you go and look at the history of Point Lisas was developed because of two things. A gas pipeline from Beachfield in Mayaro to Point Lisas, and the construction of the Caroni Arena water dam, because those heavy industry needs water. Now, the interesting thing is they need water, but then you may be taking water away from the population. So winning water is a critical process, and that is a strategy that a lot of countries are faced with.
Managing this resource requires looking at how it impacts every aspect of life and how we can preserve it for the future. Discussions focused on securing sustainable water for all, which include governance and regulation of water sources, as well as discharge of wastewater from businesses and homes, land use, agriculture practices, and use of water in both rural and urban settlements. All in all, these areas are expected to have an impact on wastewater pollution, water-related disasters, and water security. Addressing these issues was placed at the fore even as small island states meet later this year in Samoa to discuss their resources as well.
We have to focus on the issues of small island states. A lot of us, well, almost all the small island states are surrounded by water. But the water we are surrounded by are not drinking water. And that's another issue that is plaguing some of these small island states, how to get drinking water. Desal plants have its own challenges. These sorts of things are very important.
It's expected that meeting these requirements will also set the tone for Trinidad and Tobago achieving the UN's Millennium Development Goals. Kimberam Calawan, News 4.
The Honorable Nizam Baksh, Minister of Public Utilities, hosted the first of 5 Utilities Assistance Program stakeholder meetings to share information on the ministry's social intervention program that provides financial assistance to eligible individuals for the payment of their electricity and water bills. Now, it is expected that participants of the seminar would assist in disseminating the information on the UAP in their various offices.
The Ministry of Public Utilities Utilities Assistance Program seminar was held at the Regent Star Hotel in Piarco with attendees including councillors from the Arima Borough Corporation, Tunapuna, Piarco and Sangre Grande Regional Corporations, representatives from other Member of Parliament offices and representatives from other government ministries. The session focused on the ministry's Utilities Assistance Program, which is a social intervention program that provides financial assistance to eligible individuals for the payment of their electricity and water bills. But during this session, it was announced that the ministry added 2 new elements to the program: the purchase of water tanks and solar panels for eligible households. The Honorable Nizam Baksh, Minister of Public Utilities, while delivering the welcome address, noted that the program was introduced to help in the alleviation of poverty in Trinidad and Tobago.
The UAP, which has been in existence for almost 4 years, now fits squarely into the group of social intervention strategies being implemented by the government towards poverty alleviation in Trinidad and Tobago. As you know, it is a mechanism which provides financial assistance to eligible citizens to ensure their continued access to basic utilities such as water and electricity.
Minister Baksh said this program was close to his heart. He added that since its establishment in 2010, it has facilitated and assisted over 12,000 people in accessing water and electricity services.
These persons who would not have been able to afford the aforementioned services without the subsidies provided by the program belong to groups that are often overlooked and marginalized by developing societies. But through the establishment of the UAP, we have been able to remove the barriers, giving them access to services that can help improve their health, well-being, and overall standard of living.
Details on the UAP and the assessment process were given by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Public Utilities, Mistress Jacinta Bailey Sobers, and Manager Customer Service, Mauricio Pegas, and the Project Officer 2, Sectoral Programs and Projects Units, Paul Richards. In his presentation, Mr. Richards explained that site visits are made by ministry personnel to ensure that the program is not abused.
Now, you would see when you fill out the application, the information such as your income, which is supposed to be $6,000 or less, members of the household, persons who are living within the household. When we visit that household, we would ensure that what you state on the application is actually correct. We do a needs assessment that will verify your need for the assistance in terms of whether you meet the criteria, and then we would submit a report to the Utilities Assistance Program Unit, that's the customer service unit within the ministry.
Felicia Wilson, Mon News 4.
Now to some very important information. The Ministry of Works and Infrastructure is advising the public of bridge reconstruction works expected to take place throughout the country over the coming months. The work is being carried out by the ministry's Bridges, Landslips and Traffic Management, or BLT unit. The two major projects are the widening and reconstruction of the Aruka River bridges under the Churchill-Roosevelt Highway and the Darbody Bridge along the Eastern Main Road. The Aruka River bridges located east of the Trin City intersection on the highway will be rebuilt to accommodate 3 lanes of traffic, 2 paved shoulders and 1 pedestrian sidewalk on the eastbound side, while the existing westbound bridge will be widened to accommodate 3 standard lanes and 2 paved shoulders, with work to be completed by August of this year. The more than 75-year-old Darbody Bridge will be demolished and totally rebuilt with retaining walls constructed additionally. These works are expected to be completed by the end of June. Some of the other bridges targeted for reconstruction or repair include the Camden Road Bridge, Koblenz Road Bridge, St. Anne's Bridge, Kamuto Tunapuna Road Bridge, the bridge along the Eastern Main Road in St. Joseph, and several bridges along the Toko Main Road. Now, it is important to note that the entire reconstruction program, which began in February 2013, is expected to be completed in September of 2015. We take a break. Sports news when we return. Welcome back. School vacation sport camps conducted by the Ministry of Sports and the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago are becoming a staple or endeavors for youngsters throughout the nation, and Easter 2014 is no exception. Thousands of children graced the multiple venues for this year's event, and as always, they were well received. Here's Wayne Cunningham with the details.
Almost 2,500 children enjoyed free instruction in the fundamental motor skills of sport during a week-long camp put on by the Ministry of Sports implementation arm, the Sports Company of Trinidad and Tobago. Conducted at 30 venues in each regional corporation in Trinidad, the camp ran from the 7th to the 11th of April and was facilitated by qualified instructors. Most of the children were under the age of 10, the ideal age to introduce the movements required to play sport. The camps began in 2013 after it was discovered that many elite and national athletes were deficient in their technique, which stemmed from an absence of the fundamental motor skills that should have been learned at an early age. According to the Honorable Anil Roberts, Minister of Sport, the camps are an essential building block for the long-term sustainable growth of the sports industry. The more grounded our potential athletes are in the basic movements required for sport, the more adaptable their bodies will be to the rigors of sport at the highest levels. Even if these children don't go on to play amateur or professional sport, what they have learned about their bodies and movement is sure to stay with them for a long time. The ministry hosts the FMN camps during the Easter vacation, as well as the larger vacation sports camps during the July-August period. All the activities provided are free of charge, and the cost per child per day is about the same as a trip to a movie complex. Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
The 2013 SOSA Female Athlete of the Year, Marissa Dick, was recently crowned the champion gymnast in the Canadian province of Alberta. 16-year-old Marissa participated in the Artistic Gymnastics Provincials, the premier annual competition for male and female gymnasts in the province. Marissa was number 1 in the vault and the uneven bars, 10th on the floor and 3rd on the balance beam, which made her number 1 all round. Marissa's champion placement means she will be among a team of 7 women to represent Alberta at the Canadian National Championships. Given her 50th place and finished at the World Gymnastics Championships in 2013, there is every chance Marissa may be the first Trinidad and Tobago national to represent at the Commonwealth Games in sport. This country's National Interventional Championships will be held from the 6th to the 8th of June 2014. Well, that's all for sports. We take a short break. When we come back, more news. Welcome back. More than 40,000 travelers are expected to cross the waters between Trinidad and Tobago or from international destinations into Tobago over the next 2 weeks for the ever-popular Easter festivities and the annual Tobago Jazz Experience. With a population size in excess of 50,000 residents in Tobago, the police are looking seriously at these numbers and have begun putting preparations in place. News 4 spoke to the island's Assistant Commissioner of Police, Brian Headley, about the policing measures for that period.
The Tobago Police Division is about to enter a heightened phase of policing to meet law enforcement needs during the Easter festivities and the Tobago Jazz Experience later this month. According to ACP Brian Headley, even routine police exercises will be intensified.
Breathalyzer testing is an exercise that takes place all during the year. Not that we using Easter as to utilize the testing, but with the increase of road users, the increase of vehicles on the road, I think our initiatives would be increased so as to try to ensure that Tobago remains accident-free and as safe as possible.
A retina scan will be included this year for patrons at the Tobago Jazz Experience. ACP Headley indicated that it is part of the operations, but the scanning will be done by a private security in conjunction with the police.
It's going to be incorporated at the main entrance, and we would be scanning maybe as to the approach or the strategy we use. It may be random, it may be everybody if possible, but it all depends on what strategy we may deploy on that particular day, as we see, as the situation requires.
ACP Headley added that the police are mindful that some people may choose to use the holidays as opportunities to conduct their illegal activities.
We know that transition, free passage between Tobago and Trinidad, and we expect all sorts of persons to be in that crowd. So definitely we would be trying to gather as much data as possible and trying to see if we can intercept or interrupt any illegal proceedings that persons may want to engage in while they're staying in Tobago.
Mr. Headley explained that another focus of the police service during the events would be to engage the public through a guided community policing approach.
Speaking to the public, making sure that they are all right, a smile, hello, how things going, that sort of communication, and whatever assistance you can give around. At this time, well, not only this time, at any time, trying to encourage that sort of, professional policing.
And very soon, the police plan to roll out a new unit called the Tourism Oriented Policing Section, or TOPS, to deal specifically with incidents in which visitors are involved. The ACP explained that in the meantime, the entire approach by all the officers on the island will be one of empathy to all citizens and visitors alike. Reporting from Tobago, Latoya Johnson, News 4.
Thank you, Latoya. And that story brings us to the end of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. Remember, you can catch a repeat of our newscast weekdays at 6 a.m. and feel free to visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/OurTV4. I am Joseph Lopez. Thank you for watching.